the naysayers and all the negativity, use that as like fuel to propel you forward.
Absolutely. No mercy.
Exactly. You really have to show it no mercy. You got to strike first. You got to strike hard, and you got to show it no mercy.
Welcome to WatchMojo's Poppin' the Culture, your destination for all things entertainment. And me, well, I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood himself, Matt Demers. Today, I'll be sharing my interview with actor Jesse Kove, where we talk all things Cobra Kai and so much more. You definitely don't want to miss it. But first, well, let's check out some Hollywood headlines. All right, this is the part of the show where we like to break down some of the more interesting developments out there in Hollywood. And to join me, why I've recruited the lovely, the talented, it's Kirsten Ria. Kirsten, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Where are you, by the way? Because you're different time zone.
I am in the UK, so it is 3:30 p.m. here. So it's still daytime. It's still good. Still good.
Yeah, I'm still taking the coffee, and it's morning here. But that's great because we're talking pop culture. We're talking my favorite topic, movies. In particular, I want you to help me talk horror movies. Because there's a lot of exciting ones on the way. Now, I've asked you to come up with some that you're excited about. I have some that I'm excited about. We'll chat about that. Before we do, tell me, do you enjoy a good horror movie?
Oh, well, if you ask anyone who knows me, I am a little bit of a horror fanatic. Like, I don't really watch anything that's not horror. I don't really play any video games that aren't horror. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a fan. I was brought up on horror movies from a very young age, probably too young of an age, but a very young age. And it runs in the family. My mum's a horror fan, my grandma's a horror fan, and even my daughter now is a horror fan, and she's 3. So
amazing.
She loves it.
Amazing. Yeah, I do. I love it too. Listen, I can't get enough. Anytime there's a new horror movie, I get excited. And people always ask, people that don't like horror, they're like, why? Why do you like it? And I can never really explain it. I just kind of, I don't know. I would lie and maybe say, oh, there's an adrenaline and being scared. I don't know. What's your go-to answer?
Yeah, I always get asked, my partner's not a big horror fan at all, and he's like, I don't understand how you can watch this sort of stuff. And I think it depends on what sort of like subgenre of horror you enjoy as well. I'm very much into sort of like supernatural horror and like horror thrillers. But I think it's just, I'm very intrigued by the story and the worlds and the monsters. And I like being scared. I like being, hiding behind the pillow and being made to jump, and also being able to see stuff that's new. I think it's very difficult to create horror films nowadays that bring something new to the table, because a lot of it is very kind of been there, done that, and a lot of the jump scares are very like you just know what's going to happen. So I'm just always intrigued to see how a new horror film can surprise me and scare me.
Absolutely, and there's some of the best, some of the new ones that have been out in the past couple of years are some of the best ones. So if you haven't watched a horror movie in a while, you might want to jump on it. Okay, let's start with your picks, because like I said, there are some that are coming out. So if you are a horror fan out there, get excited. What's on your radar, Kirsten?
Well, I think Candyman is definitely my top horror film that I'm excited for. I love the original, and when I heard that they were doing a remake, I was very, very excited. I went back and watched the original, and the original is so good. If you haven't seen the original, I wouldn't say it's necessary, but it's so well done, and it's so creepy, and it scared the hell out of me as a kid. And I cannot wait to see, like, just get scared again, because it's just, you can go so wrong with a remake, but from what I've seen in the trailers, it just looks perfect. They just look like they've done it justice, and I'm very, very excited.
Is it the same actor they brought back?
It does look like him.
I think it is. Yeah.
I did. That was what I was very excited for, is when I saw Candyman, I was like, is that the original Candyman? So yeah, I'm super excited.
Awesome. I'm right there with you. All right, what's your number 2?
I think it is a tie between Don't Breathe 2 and Escape Room. because I loved both of those. I think Don't Breathe is one that I think was universally like people enjoyed, and it was just a very good horror movie because of the concept. And I really like how they've kind of twisted it on its head with the second film and kind of made the main villain almost like the protagonist. And I'm very intrigued to see what route they're going to go down and kind of learn more about this villain, because the actor Stephen Lang is just so cool, and I'm just very like, I know he's supposed to be a villain and I know I'm not supposed to like him. In the first film he's so creepy and horrible, but now that there's like a whole film kind of just about his character, and I didn't know how they were going to kind of carry on with the second film, but now I know it's about his character, I'm like, yes, okay. And Escape Room I feel like was kind of a, you either loved it or you didn't. I am a big fan of like the cheesy kind of horror, and I really enjoyed Escape Room. I thought it was really fun. I loved the puzzles. I love just doing escape rooms myself. So taking that concept and turning it into a what if, like, you actually could die in this situation, I thought was really fun. And they left it on a cliffhanger. And I was really hoping that they wouldn't just kind of fob it off and be like, there's your cliffhanger, but we're never going to make a sequel. And yeah, I'm just happy. It could be utter, garbage. I don't know. Each to their own, but I love a cheesy horror film as much as the next person. So
me too. I'm exactly the same. I love a horror movie that knows what it is.
Yes.
Just they know what it is and they go for it. All right. So any others, by the way, before I get to mine, because so far I have different ones.
I think the only other one I saw was The Night House, which wasn't one that I was aware of until I was going through and having a look at the horror films that are coming out. It's the same director who did The Ritual, which, if you haven't seen, is a fantastic horror movie. Really great monsters. Just a fantastic premise, and it was just so creepy and well done. So from what I've seen on the trailer, I'm definitely getting those supernatural kind of vibes from it. And yeah, I love a supernatural horror. I trust the director, so I'm just gonna let them go with it. And yeah, I'm excited.
All right, mine, and I want your opinion on this because I don't know if this could just be the premise that's hooked me in, and the payoff might not be there because the director here is a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to his film results. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
The movie is called Old. You may have seen the trailer. This is where a family goes on like this tropical vacation. The kids, they go to this beach kind of island place, and then they start aging rapidly throughout the course of a day. The trailer and the concept has me hooked. Like, this is like, whoa, I need to see this. What says you?
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about Shyamalan is that he's just he really does push the boundaries and he really does go out there. And I think that's why I've always enjoyed every single film he's done.
Every film?
Yeah, every film. Even, is it Woman in the Water, I think it was called?
No.
I even watched that. Like, I've only watched it once, but I was like, I liked it because it's different. It's unique.
Okay.
It's not something that's just been done and rehashed. It's completely like, no, this is my idea. It's not been done. And that's what I love about him. He does really try to push those boundaries and be like, right, what hasn't been done? Oh, a beach where people rapidly age and slowly, well, very quickly kind of disintegrate. And I just think I just love it. It's so easy to just take a really old movie and just go, let's just do a remake. Let's do a rehash. Let's take that, but change it slightly. I'm a fan. I'm one of those people, I'm just like, it doesn't matter what he does. I'm like, good job, mate.
Okay, I think he's having a bit of a return to form, so I'm excited for that. My next one, man, this looks good. Last Night in Soho. 2 words, Edgar Wright. This is his first horror movie. And you talk about loving everything that M. Night Shyamalan does. I love it. Edgar Wright cannot do wrong in my eyes. From Baby Driver to Scott Pilgrim, I just eat it all up. And to see him do a horror movie, and we're playing with time, some mysterious time manipulation here. Yeah, this trailer has got me hooked.
The thing is with Edgar Wright is he is very clearly a horror fan. When you watch his works like in Spaced and in Shaun of the Dead, there's a lot of horror influences there, and he's a big fan of like George Romero. And that's what I always loved about him is that he obviously is a fan of the horror, but he like does kind of put a comedy aspect to it. And yeah, I'm also a very big fan of his, and it's going to be interesting to see how he goes with a full-on horror film, and if there is any kind of comedic aspects in there, or if he just goes full-blown kind of, no, I'm going to scare the pants off of you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. And my last one, I'll just round us out with, we just did an interview last episode on this show with Jamie Kennedy, and he talked about the original Scream. Well, guess what? Scream 5 is coming out. We have to wait till January. They just wrapped. You can see on social media there's the cast photo and everything. Courtney Cox is back. David Arquette.
Nice.
I'm really intrigued. I'm a sucker for Scream. You know, a good slasher gets me, and they don't get much better than Scream.
It's a classic. I actually only recently started getting into the Scream films, considering how big of a horror film I am. There was a lot of films that as a kid, like my mum kind of didn't let me watch, so I kind of had to kind of grow with the horror films, and I've only recently started going back, and Scream was one of those ones I was like, how have I not watched it? And it's fantastic. It is. It's an absolute classic. I mean, I think they do kind of deteriorate as they go on, but they are still enjoyable. Yes. But yeah, I mean, there's so much more that they can actually do with them. I think when you get a franchise like this, you just kind of have to accept the fact that it is going to be pretty much the same, but you're hoping that they are going to kind of change it up enough that it still scares you in a new way.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Okay, before we move on from the Hollywood headlines, Emmy nominations were just dropped, so we should touch on a few, actually. Because I, aside from movies, I do watch a lot of television. I'm very consumed by entertainment, in case you can't tell. Here are the big ones that got the most nominations. The Crown, which admittedly I don't watch. I know, people love it. I'm not one of them, unfortunately. The Mandalorian, though. Hey, I ate that up. Yeah. They got 24 nominations, tied with The Crown. WandaVision also racked up a lot. You've got Lovecraft Country, which also just got canceled, so... take that, HBO. And The Handmaid's Tale, but the list goes on and on. Are there any shows? First of all, do you watch a lot of TV or no?
Not really. I am more of like a Netflix person, and even then, I don't watch a lot of TV shows. It's more of movies. But Lovecraft Country, it was one I really did enjoy, and I've obviously heard good things about WandaVision and Handmaid's Tale, and I have always been intrigued by them, but I am unfortunately one of those people that when someone hypes something up to me, I'm like, no, I will watch it in my own time. So I haven't yet got to it, but I have heard incredible things about both shows. So yeah, they and then obviously The Mandalorian. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan. I always brought up with Star Wars. Of course, I had to watch The Mandalorian. So yeah, I am hoping that Lovecraft. It's a shame that it has been cancelled. I wasn't aware of that, so that's like big boo energy. But The Mandalorian, yeah, it's probably one of the best shows, I think, like Netflix, TV... No, Disney.
That's right. It's a Disney Plus. And that's the other thing. They're all most of the nominees are the streaming services, because we're obviously in the streaming wars. And I remember back in the day when a Netflix would get a nomination, and it was a big deal that Netflix was competing with the networks, and now you can count the network shows on one hand how many nominations they get. A bit of surprise nominations, but I think they're good surprise nominations. The Boys. The Boys gets a Best Drama nomination. Do you watch this? Because if you're not watching The Boys, you need to watch The Boys. I'm highly recommending The Boys. I'm overhyping The Boys.
I do need to watch it. I've heard like good things, and whenever I see clips of it, I think it just looks so good. And it's superheroes, right? And I'm a sucker for superheroes. So it's on my radar. It is. I just, again, I'm like, in time.
Superheroes, but so much more. Okay. And that's all I want to say, because part of the joy of the show is discovering all the insanity. And then the other one that I just want to highlight too, that got a nice nomination that I was really rooting for, is Cobra Kai. Listen, this is on Netflix. It used to be on YouTube, and Netflix picked it up, and boy, do they have a hit on their hands. This is the Karate Kid kind of spin-off here, focusing on Johnny Lawrence, but of course we brought back the original characters. I'm obsessed. This is a guilty pleasure, but not even a guilty pleasure. It's just a pleasure. Have you seen? You should watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes because I really liked Karate Kid when I was young, and I thought that it was just such a good idea of, again, switching it on its head and just kind of showing how their lives have impacted their characters and how it kind of takes the villain and be like, well, actually, he's the good guy now. And the good guy's really not too nice anymore because he's kind of let the fame go to his head. And I just think that's such a brilliant premise. And I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
I loved the jokes about like the whole wax on, wax off. I was just like, I am here for this. It's so funny. But I only watched a couple of episodes and I just kind of forgot to kind of catch up. So yeah, I need to get back into it and binge watch it, I think.
That's right. Get your binge on. It's so great, so self-aware, and we talk about movies that know what they are. This is a show that knows exactly what it is. All right. I want to know what you guys out there think. Hey, listen, is there a horror movie that just has you, holding your breath? You can't wait to see it? Drop it in the comments. And what about the Emmy nominations? Any surprises for you? Or what show are you binge watching? Let us know out there in the comments. Kirsten, don't go anywhere, because me and you, well, guess what? We got to go beyond the list.
We do.
All right, Kirsten, so what I've done is I've dug deep in the vast WatchMojo archives, and I pulled out a top 10 list, and I want you to help me go beyond it. We'll give our opinions, some insights, some additional thoughts. Today, this is interesting, and I love this because we're talking about actors that auditioned for other roles in the movie that they're known for, right? And it's always interesting to me to think about what would have happened if they were in that. Would the movie still work? For instance, Tom Hanks was the original choice for Jerry Maguire, and to me that doesn't work.
No.
That movie was tailor-made for Tom Cruise. So this is interesting, but these actors actually ended up in the same movie, even though they didn't get the part that they wanted. So here we go. Top 10 actors who got different movie roles than they auditioned for. Number 10, this is actually interesting because this she ended up getting the main role. It's Lily James, Cinderella, and she auditioned for one of the stepsisters.
Yes. Yeah. I think she's got such a particular face that I only really imagine her as Cinderella now. So it's just, I don't think I could imagine her as a supporting role or as any other person but that. It's almost like this role was kind of made for her. It would be strange. And it's strange that she would kind of put herself not below the bar, but to kind of think, oh, I won't kind of put myself forward for that. It's like, why? Like, this was made for you. Just do it, girl. Just go for it. So I'm so glad that they were like, no, you are Cinderella.
So that's a nice one where she auditioned for a lesser role and got the main role. Usually it's the opposite. All right. This one is Orlando Bloom. Hey guys, Lord of the Rings in that franchise, he could have been somebody else. He could have been Faramir.
That was Sean Bean's character,
Legolas.
I think, wasn't it? Faramir? Yeah.
That's right.
No.
So imagine those two mixed.
No. Just could you imagine that meme? You know, the Sean Bean, like, one does not simply replace Sean Bean with Orlando Bloom. Like, it's just I can't. And he was so young as well. I think he was like still in college or something, or university when he was auditioning for Lord of the Rings. So I just don't see how it could have worked. Like, he was just born to be Legolas.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Number 8, we've got Ashley Greene. This is in the Twilight saga. Now, I to be honest, I don't really know much about Twilight, despite popular belief. She, for those that were wondering, Ashley Greene was she wanted to be Bella. She wanted to be Bella, and she got Alice Cullens. I don't know. Do you know Twilight? Do you know if that's a big deal or not?
I've seen the first one when it first came out. I, too, am not a huge fan. My mum was a massive fan. But I think this is the only one that I could possibly imagine, because Kristen Stewart is a fantastic actress. But for some reason, her performance in Twilight is just so strange. And so
Stilted.
off-putting, and it's the only way that it's the only one on this list that I was like, I kind of feel like she could have done a better job. But yeah, I can imagine it. I could see it. I just think, and I think that's just purely down to Kristen Stewart's performance in Twilight. It was just really bizarre.
Awkward. I think it was awkward. Yeah, but I agree with you. I think she can do great things. It's just she got a bad rap. And look at Pattinson. Man, has he's proved
Batman
his worth
now.
after that. So yeah. So hello. Okay. James Franco is number 7, and this one I've mentioned this to other people. He auditioned for Spider-Man. James Franco was going to be Spider-Man. Of course, he got.
No, you can honestly see him as Spider-Man.
Yeah, young Franco.
No, he was always supposed to be Harry. Because the thing is, I think you've got to see, and I'm not saying Tobey Maguire isn't an attractive man, but he is a stereotypical nerdy guy, and James Franco just isn't that. He's just a typical kind of cool, good-looking dude, and I think that's why he just worked so good as Harry, because he kind of had that sort of suave about him of like, look at me, I'm so good looking and rich and stuff, and I know it. And the whole point of Spider-Man is that he's supposed to be kind of this awkward, nerdy guy, and James Franco isn't that. He's not awkward and nerdy. No.
Could have been. He could have been. I still stand by that. I still think I could have seen that. All right, number 6 is Shannon Doherty in Heathers. Now, she played an HBIC, if you know what that stands for. But she could have been somebody else. She was asked to read for Heather Chandler, and then she ended up getting.
I think she wanted to go for Winona Ryder's character first, and then she found out that it'd been taken, so she kind of went for the other Heather.
Absolutely, that's exactly it. And then she got Heather Duke. A lot of Heathers, obviously, in the movie Heathers. It's a little confusing, but yeah, no, this is an iconic role for her, so I'm sure she's happy it worked out this
I
way.
think it's, like I said, it's one of those situations very similar to kind of like Mean Girls, which we'll get to later. But just because you're in a supporting role doesn't mean you're going to be any less iconic. And I think for Mean Girls and Heathers, it worked out well for her because she's probably more iconic than Winona Ryder's character now.
Absolutely. Number 5, we're halfway there. Liam Hemsworth. Hey, can you picture him as
no,
in
not
The
at
Hunger
all.
Games?
No, just a big no.
No, I think we'll just we'll just go with a no on that one. Okay, this one's interesting too. Tom Felton. A lot of people might know this, but I still find this interesting for the Harry Potter franchise. We know him as Malfoy. He's obviously famous for that role. He was going for the best friend Ron Weasley. But now that we know the cast, I mean, hey, Harry Potter, that's your neck of the
You
woods.
say that, but
right?
I am a very bad British person in that I don't enjoy Harry Potter or tea. So bring on the hate, fellow Brits. But I saw the first one and the first couple of, because I was pretty much the same sort of age as they were when the films came out. So I was very into the magic and the wizards, and I was a big fan when I was a kid. But as I grew up, it wasn't my sort of thing. But
you should have auditioned.
I know. Well, when I
for
saw,
something.
a little, because the thing is, I was very much looks-wise, I was Hermione Granger as a kid. I had the big, like, curly brown hair. I just didn't have the intelligence or the attitude or the sass. I can see why she got the part and not me, but that's fine. It's I'm not big on Harry Potter, but I am aware of Draco, and I think that Tom Felton is just made for that role. Like, could you imagine anyone else doing the whole Potter? Like, he does it so well. Like, you can't even like recreate it. I think I think the way that his voice works, as well as Rupert Grint, he's just kind of got that very awkward, God, Harry, and it's just, they're just two completely different people, and it would not have worked.
I now want you to do impressions of every other person we talk about. No, number 3. This one blows my mind because Bridesmaids, I still think is one of the funniest movies that I've seen in a long time. And that came out in 2011. But Rebel Wilson was originally auditioning for the role that went to Melissa McCarthy and made Melissa McCarthy huge. And to me, Melissa McCarthy is a major part of that movie. So. And I like Rebel Wilson. I think her brand of comedy is funny, and I think she's kind of kooky and weird in this movie. But I cannot imagine anyone else.
Yeah,
Melissa McCarthy.
I think, like you said, she's got a very particular brand of comedy, and trying to imagine her as the kind of outspoken character that Melissa McCarthy has just wouldn't work. But I think, as far as I'm aware, when she didn't get the part, she was like really bummed out. But Kristen Wiig, being like an executive producer, actually like they decided to write in the part that Rebel Wilson has. So yeah, her actual character didn't exist until after she auditioned, and they loved her so much and thought she was so funny. They were like, we have to have you in the film somewhere. So, and again, she is now a completely, I think every single character in Bridesmaids is iconic anyway. And I think that's what makes it so good, is every single character is so funny. And yeah, it's nice to know that Rebel Wilson, although she didn't get the character she went for, she got to basically become an entire different character. Basically her. It is her, just at her comedy, and it's fantastic.
Let that be a lesson for all you wannabe actors out there. Just audition. You never know. They might like you enough. You might not be right for that role. They'll give you something else. Tom, this is timely. Number 2, Tom Hiddleston. Listen, Loki.
Yes.
He is Loki. The show Loki, it's a big deal. I love it. Everyone loves it. But hey, he wanted to be Thor.
No.
Don't see it. Actually, do I see it?
I feel like in kind of like a low-key alternate universe kind of way, I can see it. But canonically, no. He's just not really got the build. Can I say that? Do you know what I mean? He's not got the build for Thor. Yeah, I think he's definitely more kind of suited to the weaselly little brother that wants to get his way, and yeah, it's perfect for him. It
is perfect. We love you. We love you, Tom. Okay, and rounding us out with number 1, the role that she auditioned for but got a different one in the movie, is Lindsay Lohan for Mean Girls. Man, she wanted to be Regina. Sorry, I would have loved to see that. Like, I kind of want to see the alternate version of Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan as Regina George, because as far as I'm aware, like, they were blown away by how good she was and how scary and mean Lindsay Lohan was in this role of Regina George, but they just really were adamant that she had to be the innocent kind of, and I think this is probably due to her kind of Disney years and stuff like that. They were like, no, you have to be the good girl, and you could tell she was really trying to kind of show that side of her that was like, no, I can be the bad guy. So I would have loved to have seen that. I really would have. Yeah, she's perfect for it. But I just think that even if they switched characters directly, part of me just kind of wished I could kind of go to a different universe and watch that, because I think it would be really cool. They keep talking about a sequel to Mean Girls. Do we let it go at this point, or do you want to see it?
I don't know. I mean, did they not do like a bad kind of sequel with like, they were like younger girls, I think, because they kind of tease it at the end with like the new freshmen, I think you guys call it in America, right? The freshmen, they're like the new year.
Of course, yeah.
So like the younger kids, and I think they did kind of, maybe this was like a fever dream I had or something, but I swear I've seen a very poor
I know they did it.
sequel somewhere.
They also did a musical. But I think it's run its course. I think the movie's
don't
great,
mess with it.
But it's
fine. Yeah.
Just leave it be. Same with Friends. Like, we don't need the Friends movie, guys. Let's enjoy it what it is.
Let it die.
let it be.
Let it die.
Let it die. Well, on that note, hey, by the way, everybody, if you want to watch this list, it's narrated by the one and only Kirsten. You can click on your screen. Check it out. And let us know in the comments what you think. Could you have seen any of these other actors in those roles? Interesting stuff. Speaking of interesting, like Kirsten, it's time for my Mojo Chat of the week. All right, he's a up-and-coming actor, and I'm very excited to chat with him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jesse Kove. Jesse, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me, man.
Well, appreciate you coming in. Hey, by the way, congratulations. For those that don't know, Jesse is part of an Emmy-nominated show. That's right. You were on, Cobra Kai just got nominated for it. This is a big deal. You were in that last season. That must be pretty exciting.
It's pretty crazy. You know, we just found out, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And I mean, we were just, you know, my Ralph had texted my dad and then I found out from our publicist, and it's just amazing, man. It just goes to show you where, you know, where things start. You never know where they're going to go. And it's pretty amazing how this train has just climbed up this hill to where it is now.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm one of those people that is on that train. I'm obsessed. Trust me, I love me some Cobra Kai. And I was trying to explain to someone what it was, someone that hadn't seen it. And I think it's the right mix of nostalgia. There's humor, but there's action. It's just so much. What do you think it is for you? What do you think has connected people to that series?
You know, it's funny is I love the show too. And, you know, I was in the show. I still love the show as if I'm, you know, just a spectator, but I think it has to do with, you know, it really encompasses all the genres together. It's got the nostalgia aspect of the 80s, which the original Karate Kid movies, which is just so great. People already love that type of nostalgia, like, you know, Stranger Things, things like that. You know, people just love that. And, you know, kind of takes us out of like our current reality to a different time, which is always fun. And I think, you know, also bringing in kind of the new generation, you know, with the new kids, it's like it got a perfect amalgamation of just like the new and the old tied together. And it's also not too PC, which is great. I think it just kind of like, you know, breaks the barriers a little bit, which is always fun, I think. And I just, you know, the writing, of course, is incredible. And I just think it touches upon, you know, everybody's heartstrings.
Yeah, and honestly, it's the story's still fresh. All right, we did some new twists on it at the beginning, and this past season, you were involved in the flashbacks, but it was done in this really interesting way because you, at first glance, we were like, oh, okay, that's Kreese when he was younger, right? You got to say the immortal words, "No mercy," but then we find out that you were the bully of Kreese, so you influenced that character's upbringing. So that. What was that like? Because obviously your dad is the Kreese that we know and love to hate. But you were an integral part in his character's origin story, if you will.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it's very cool, man. You know, what's funny is also I heard that they used that episode for the TV Academy to vote on the show, which was pretty crazy. I had no idea if that's still true. I mean, what a wild thing. It was just it's an amazing experience. It was kind of like this, you know, it almost felt like this weird Marvel, you know, cinematic type universe with like, you know, I happen to be touching upon like, you know, the original OG Karate Kid along with Cobra Kai at the same time, which is really crazy. It was almost like Back to the Future in a sense, you know, and it was just a special moment, you know, for me personally, and also, you know, my career to be able to kind of be in those shoes, you know, something that my dad's, you know, a part of his legacy, and to touch upon that and to kind of be in that doorway for a minute. And, you know, it was a very proud moment. And obviously my dad was there when it happened and he was very proud. And it was just, it was really an incredible experience.
So this Karate Kid Cobra Kai stuff must be like, it's now like a family legacy, right? Like it's forever cemented with your family.
It's ingrained. It's like ingrained on my forehead here.
Of course, you can have like the movie posters and stuff in your houses for years.
We do. We actually do. My dad has the original, got the original cutout from Karate. Well, from all the Karate Kids of him. You know, you walk into the Cobra Kai dojo and you see the cutout of him like this. He still has that in his living room.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Talk to me about your growing up, because because you hear a lot of kids, of actors, and they talk about sometimes they're on the set and they're learning that way, and that's kind of how they get the bug. We know that you're an actor now, but you also hear from childs of actors who are kept away and they're kind of curious. What was your experience?
Funny enough, mine was kind of like the latter of what you said. My dad never pushed me to be in the industry at all, and I just kind of fell into it. I was always making movies when I was a kid. I loved, taking my GI Joes and filming with my camera and my dad's camera. And then, in high school and middle school and all that stuff, I was always in like the creative arts programs, and I was always doing plays in school. And I just loved entertaining people and making people laugh. That was always something I loved to do. But, I never really got into it professionally until I was probably about 18. I told my dad, like, I really want to do this. He's like, great. And obviously I'd been around so many different movie sets growing up. I just loved it. It was like a fantasy land for me. So, naturally I just, I walked into those shoes, and, I've never looked back. It's been extremely rewarding.
Awesome. And I want to see those GI Joe videos.
I have them. I really should post them. They're so funny. Release
the Jesse cut.
Release the Jesse cut. I love it. It'll probably be out 6 hours long.
Okay, good. I'm in. Hey, just right up there with the Snyder cut, all that good stuff. So I was looking moments ago. I was going through your IMDb. So you've been in some interesting stuff. And what grabbed me about your filmography, it's so varied. Yeah. So you've been able to touch different genres, and I wonder if you have a favorite. Like, is there a genre that you think you would love to not to pigeonhole yourself in, but that you would like to stick with, or are you one of those actors that loves to do it all?
Well, thank you for looking at that. I really love a variety of stuff. Like, funny enough, like my hair right now, right? Like I'm doing a movie right now in Florida. I'm on location currently, and I've never had my hair done like this for any of my movies. And so I like to change things up and look, have different characters, different looks. And, I love period pieces. That for me, I jump into those characters very quickly. And
really?
I feel it's I don't know what it is, but like when I'm doing period pieces, I'm so free, more so than when I'm doing modern, television or movies. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know if it's clothing or whatever, but I automatically feel so free to do whatever I need to do when I'm this character. I've done 2 World War II movies, and I don't know, it's just very, I don't know, maybe I was born in those time periods, another life. I don't know. But, everything has its own challenges, but I like to vary it up. I like to challenge myself at the same time. I like to keep myself on my toes. And so definitely period pieces for sure are my favorite.
What's the set life now? Because listen, our world changed about a year and a half ago. Things have been insanely incredible. But the show goes on, precautions taken. Is that loosening up a bit, or is it still pretty stringent? What's happening behind the scenes?
It's definitely loosening up. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I actually worked all through COVID. I did a movie last year that was like one of only 3 movies in all of California that were shooting. I was really lucky. A movie called Christmas Cuisine of Love, directed by Jake Helgren. And it was kind of like new territory at the time. We were kind of figuring out what to do. SAG had to figure out their protocols. It's not like everybody at SAG are doctors and medical personnel, but I think, obviously people are getting trained and how to deal with all this. And it's just, there's a lot of protocols, and, you're getting tested all the time. Even people who are vaccinated, are still, getting COVID in certain times. And so it's just really, kind of following the protocols. There's social distancing, obviously you're wearing your mask and face shields. And then when you're not rolling, you take them off. And then, everybody's getting tested every 3 days. The great thing is that, like I've had this conversation a few times, like the resiliency of the film industry, how amazing that we're still trying to make movies, and we're still trying to get, provide entertainment for people, even through the pandemic. It's kind of like, during the Great Depression, the film industry rose as everybody was, the stock market and everything was crashing. And so it's kind of like a similar thing. People want to be entertained, and people want this escapism. And, people were at home streaming constantly, during the pandemic. And so Cobra Kai even came out, I think, what was it, the beginning of December last year. And it was just billions of minutes, something like that. So it's just a lot to get used to. And again, everybody's spirits are high, and they're excited to work. And I think that's one of the most important things.
Yeah. And I think I speak for all the audience when I say thank you. We appreciate the content. We need it. Trust me.
Right.
And Jesse, I just want to ask you, before we wrap things up, I think a lot of people watching might be aspiring actors, and they're looking at someone like you going, okay, this guy's a working actor. What is some advice? I think some people might be interested about, I don't know, some do's and don'ts, or
Right.
Good old fashioned advice.
One of the things that I've learned is that, you just have to be persistent. And even when times are down and you're not, you don't feel good about yourself and, maybe you're not working or whatever, but like, I literally, like the Richard Branson thing that just happened. I don't know if you saw when he flew up in, the Virgin Galactic spaceship.
Oh, of course.
He talked about how he had a dream as a kid and now he's in a spaceship hovering over planet Earth. Like there's a perfect example of someone who just worked at something for decades and eventually they literally got to the top of their dreams, right? And so it's the same thing for anybody, wanting to be a working actor or whatever it is, be in movies. Like you just have to be persistent and know that like if you work hard enough, you will get there. You really will. And the naysayers and all the negativity, use that as like fuel to propel you forward.
Absolutely. No mercy.
Exactly. You really have to show it no mercy. You got to strike first. You got to strike hard, and you got to show it no mercy.
Amazing. And Jesse, can people follow you online if they want to follow your journey and see what you're up to next?
I'm very active on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Jesse Kove, JESSEKOVE. And then the movie I'm doing right now is called The Taste of Love. Erin Cahill stars. She's fantastic to work with, and we got a great team. Very excited. We'll be down here in Florida for the next month, and we're shooting in Dunedin, and there's some press about it that's out right now, and it's very exciting. So definitely follow me on social media. I'm very active on there.
Hey, I'll be watching and I'll be following. Jesse, thanks for your time today.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you so much.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. I want to thank Jesse and Kirsten for joining in on all the fun today. And hey, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to let us know in the comments what you think and what you want to hear us talk about. Till next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood, and I've been popping the culture.